We're going to spend this evening of chill time with birds just petting Gus. It's not going to be a long episode. It's very late outside. Gus is a cozy girl that wants pettings. If you want, we can talk about some loft stuff while we're petting this Gus. We'll be going over the retirement roster probably on the Tumblr page, since I can articulate my thoughts more clearly in writing than I can verbally. Keeps me from losing focus if I see what I've already said. I know. This is the goodest Gus. She is the goodest Gus. So right now the two birds at the tippy top of the retirement list for this year, or for their sexes, I'm sorry, are Mia, who retires on the 30th, and Sony, who unfortunately will not retire for another 5 months, because that is when we will have a new young hen available. Unless we manage to find a breeding hen of one of the new breeds that I'd like to incorporate, who is of age at the right time set. Aww. They're so cute. Look at Amelia and Tandy. Look at these birds. Now, we did not know that the combination of Ferdy and Astrid's lines would have a literally cancerous result until these eggs were mostly developed. That being said, no, we're not going to take away mostly developed eggs and kill peeps. We are going to let them hatch, but any subsequent eggs that this pair lays, if they remain paired, she and Silk, since there is a lot of Astrid in them, will be swapped out for fakes, or they will be given the opportunity to foster eggs from other pairs. Sony has Astrid in most of her family line, like both sides of her family. Schatzi is her mother, Astrid's purebred old German owl daughter, and her father is Pinto, who is the son of Ferdy and Schatzi. So she's got a very, very high Astrid line content, and there is pretty much nothing in her but Astrid and Ferdy. Which is why she is at the top of the hen list. Now, if she were to breed to someone unrelated to her, since cancer is very, very rarely a simple matter of 1 or 2 or even 3 recessive genes, it's often a combination. It's often a combination of a multitude of genetic and environmental risk factors. So if we shift those risk factors away from her, or if we shift the genetic aspect of those risk factors, then the risk should go away. All the same, I would frankly really rather find an adult, since, well, again, the next hen retirement won't be for another 5 months when Violet comes of age. Or I'm sorry, Lilac comes of age. We don't have a bird named Violet. The two flowers are very similar though. PJ only has a quarter of Ferdy's line in him. He has more Sunsu than he does anything else. Wait, no. I'm tired and scattered and not quite here all the way. he is immediately Sun Tzu out of pitch. Where even is Sun Tzu? Oh, there he is, sleeping in his box. So he's got full Chinese owl on one side, and on the other side, he is half frillback and half old German owl. The specific frillback and old German owl are the recessive red known as Cooper in his new family, and Astrid. They were one of the first two to pair up. So he is 1/4 Astrid. If he breeds to another bird that has no Astrid or furry content, then their squeakers should be relatively safe. He was going to be higher up on the retirement list because he's kind of dumb. Instead of maintaining a single nest box and protecting the hen on her eggs in it, he jumps from box to box and ends up chasing intruders into the box his wife is trying to sit in, which scares her off her eggs and keeps the eggs from developing. Given how Escher passed, it was a blessing in disguise. Hey Vinny, you've already got peeps. Yeah, don't get any closer to Gus. Gus doesn't want anybody else over there. So, Emilio may be mad at me for showing you, but since you haven't had a chance to look in on the peeps since they were tiny, I know. Peeps. Hey, Tandy. Look at those tiny peeps. That's Thistle in the back and the unnamed younger baby in the front, who is slightly lighter than Thistle. Oh, look how poofy that Dandy is. Just gonna step away from that. Just gonna step away from that whole mess and let that Tandy calm down. Oh, her little nose is pink. She is super mad. We're gonna move away from that Tandy. And one more time tonight, I'm going to bother Ellie since y'all haven't had an opportunity to see her new peeps. Ellie, can I see? I'm gonna show people, but I'm be quick about it. This bigger baby in the front is the first hatch, and that smaller baby is the second hatch. I'm sorry. That smaller baby behind it is actually the first. So, Indica looks like she is in fact female, but that won't really matter for anybody else because I'm keeping her. Okay, Gus, you want us to come back to just petting you? Come back to just petting that Gus. Yes, Gus is amenable to this. That's good, Gus. Oh, hi, Vinny. He joined us on the swing. Whee! Well, you've seen peeps. We've discussed a little bit about our changes. And hey, look at that. We've almost managed to use up 10 minutes. Gonna pet you on this side now. Yeah. That Gus is a good girl. Excited for Gus babies. When Gus babies finally come. It'll probably be a while. Despite being a production breed, giant homers take a very long time to mature. Her mother was over a year before she had Gus. And she was about a year before she laid her first eggs. I know about that Gus. Okay, tomorrow when I have a little bit more time, it's less dark and I'm less rushed. We'll have a more normal video day that hopefully involves 2 training times. Okay, in addition to our clients, adopters, And both breeding and rescue apprentices, I would like to thank our subscribers here on YouTube, our patrons on Patreon, the friends of our business page on Facebook, and our followers on Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter for your contributions, both financial and intellectual. Hey, by the way, if you're on Discord, we have 3 servers up. There is an apprentice server for to get people started specifically with raising a small number of pigeons as companion animals. We have another apprenticeship server specifically for getting people interested in small-scale rescue and foster started. And we have a server specifically for house pet pigeons, where we focus, instead of on things like medical and reproductive health, we focus on enrichment and training and behavior. And we have a little bit of, or we discuss a little bit of that in the breeder and rescue forums, but you know, not everybody should or wants to breed. Not everybody is able to rescue or foster. For a lot of people, it's better to just have 1 to 4 permanent house pets, and that server is specifically for those people that want to make the lives of their permanent residents as happy as they can. A lot of pigeon breeding is done in bulk, and the breeding apprentices are trying to shift that entire mindset. We do not want people raising 1 million pigeons with the plan of throwing away most of them for the 10 out of 100 that might either win competitions or throw children who win competitions. What we want to do is focus specifically on incorporating the traits that we like into birds bred specifically for longevity and companionship. It is, pardon my language, a fucking crime that pigeons can live up to 20 to 25 years. There are some records of individuals making it almost to their 30s. But because pigeons bred for show only need to be around for 3, nobody cares what happens to them after that. And hey, guess what? There's consequences to not paying attention what happens to your stock after it's 3 years old. Most breeders on a show bench will say that if you have a 5-year-old competing, your program has gone terribly wrong because you're not improving every year. You should show your best, so you should have better every year that rolls. What that leads up to is pigeons being on the show bench for maybe 2 years, where they are bred for maybe 3, and after that, sold, culled, what have you, no attempt is made to keep up with them. And because they're only useful until they're 3, and it doesn't matter what happens after that, we're finding that health problems are cropping up in show lines. So one of the things that our program is geared towards is breeding away from traits that are physically damaging, or at least blending them with traits that make the bird overall more pigeon-shaped while passing on, the harmless things like adornments, colors that people like, that in and of themselves don't hurt the pigeon as long as they're not taken to a stupid extreme. I could talk on that topic for literally hours. But since what we are trying to do, the long and short of it is what we are trying to do is encourage actually humane practices that give a shit about the birds themselves as individuals. We do not want to produce 1 million birds because a few of them will be good enough. We want to aim specifically for temperament, longevity, physical structural soundness. Ideally, making them pretty should not require a sacrifice of their lifespan. People should, and pigeons for that matter, should get the full 20 to 25 years. Sorry, you'll have to give me a second to come down from that. That whole thing makes me furious, and it was the whole reason that I stopped breeding purebreds. Okay, so what we try to do is to show people who want to breed. I'm getting the devices do hot warning. What we want to do is encourage people who think they want to breed to look into, here's everything you need to do to physically maintain your breeding stock. Hey, guess what? Veterinary costs are going to be involved, and they're going to be involved often. Every new bird, even if I don't pay a cent for the bird itself, costs me $140 just to bring in for nothing more than 2 rounds of veterinary testing. And that should be standard practice for any breeder bringing any livestock in from anywhere. Still getting the too hot warning, so the video may cut off. And if it does, I apologize. And if it does, we'll get to the small scale rescue server later. Sorry if that's an aggravating noise. I'm hoping blowing on the phone will make it less heated. You know, I could probably take the case off and lose a little bit. Woo, golly, that's hot. Probably keep it from building up too much that way. Okay. So our rescue server is built around specifically small scale. If people have the misconception that if you want to start a rescue, you've got to have a whole giant facility for that. And with pigeons, it can be as simple as fostering a pair or two at any given time. You guys have no idea how much it would help large rescues to have a bunch of people willing to just foster 1 to 4 birds at a time. So we go into detail over how to get started doing that, what you can expect while doing it. We also talk about things like screening prospective adopters. And the purpose of screening is not to say, no, you can't have a bird, or no, you can't have a bird. It's to gauge exactly how prepared they are to meet that animal's needs for what we hope to be a 25-year lifespan. And if they're not prepared yet, to work with them to get prepared. That is both a rescue and a breeder's job. In doing so, sometimes you will find out that, oh dear, this animal is not right for this home for this reason. And it is much, 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 much better to come to that realization before the bird goes to that location. And you want that person to come to that conclusion of, oh, this isn't the right fit for me themselves, instead of just being told no. Because if you just tell them no, they're going to go to an auction or to an unsavory breeder and grab a cheap bird. And we go into that in a lot more detail in those forums. So if you are interested in seeing any of those, they are also not necessarily for people that are already started. They are to help you get started or help you decide whether or not this is actually the right course of action for you. So if you're interested in any of those, you can comment or you can email me at theramseyloft@gmail.com, and we will happily send you links to those servers. Anyway, wow, I used up another 10 minutes. And I've already done the outro like 10 minutes ago. So we can cover this in other videos. Again, for more information, comment or email. We very, very much appreciate hearing from you. And with that smoochy footage of Tandy and Emilio on their beeps, we'll go ahead and call it a night and go in.